This morning, I found myself reflecting on the hidden sins we may unintentionally become involved in. One in particular stood out: bearing false witness. Have you ever formed an opinion about someone based on what another person told you, only to later realize that you were misled, that there was another side of the story? Or perhaps have you ever spoken about someone in a way that shaped how others viewed them, even if unintentionally? This is a dangerous cycle that many of us fall into, sometimes without realizing its weight and spiritual consequences. You see, many misunderstandings and conflicts arise from partial truths and one-sided stories. I once heard a preacher say, "If you want to know about me, ask me. Don't ask someone else because they may only tell you how they feel about me." And that may be a mix of truth, misunderstanding, misinterpretation, and deception. So give me the chance to introduce myself to you and then make your own judgment. It's easy to speak about someone, whether out of frustration, jealousy, or even the desire to make ourselves look good. But when we speak in a way that tarnishes another person's reputation, we are not only hurting them, we are also influencing those who hear us. Proverbs 16:28 reminds us, "A perverse person stirs up conflict, and a gossip separates close friends." Think about how quickly a simple comment can poison someone's view of another. A coworker whispers about another coworker. A church member makes a casual remark about someone else in the congregation. A friend shares a concern about another friend, but in reality, it's just disguised gossip. This is how division, mistrust, and unnecessary strife begin. But why do people do this? Often, people spread negative talk for several reasons: to elevate themselves or appear more righteous, to gain sympathy or control how others perceive them, to justify their own actions. The listener falls into sin, causing them to judge unfairly, hold grudges, and even spread the negativity further. The truth is, this goes against the heart of God, who calls us to love one another. So be mindful of what you entertain. Don't open your heart to biased opinions and unfair judgments. If hearing negative talk and unfair judgments about others isn't a sin, then why does the Bible warn so strongly against it? Why did Jesus himself warn us? He said, "Do not bear false witness," Matthew 19:18. When we listen and accept negative words without question, without asking the Holy Spirit to shine His light on what we've heard, we become participants in the damage it causes. Here's what happens. Once you hear something negative about someone, it settles in your heart. Proverbs 18 verse 8 says, "They are like choice morsels. They go down to the inmost parts." A seed has been planted, and the next time you see that person, your perception changes. You start seeing them through the lens of someone else's judgment. You may begin treating them differently, doubting their integrity, and even unfairly distancing yourself from them. And without realizing it, you're committing a sin against that person, harboring unjust thoughts and spreading further division. Does this kind of practice align with what God desires for us as His children? In the Bible, we have a powerful example with Miriam and Aaron. They spoke against Moses because of the wife he had married, questioning his leadership and spreading negativity in the camp. Although their words might have seemed minor, God took them seriously. He immediately called them to account and struck Miriam with leprosy as a consequence of her wrongdoing. What does this teach us? Speaking against someone, even if we feel justified, can bring judgment upon us. You need to know, both the speaker and the listener of harmful talk are accountable before God. The consequences may not always be immediate, but destructive words lead to separation, not only from others, but spiritually from God. God does not take lightly the destruction of another person's character or the spreading of harmful talk. Our words have weight, and when they tear others down, they also bring consequences upon us. How can we protect ourselves? The best way to avoid falling into this trap is to pause before we speak. Before sharing any information about someone else, ask yourself, is this necessary? Will it uplift or tear down? Would I say this if the person were present? If you wouldn't say it in their presence, it's likely gossip or a lie. Yes, there are times when speaking about someone who isn't present is necessary, but only if it's to protect or build them up. Otherwise, it's pure gossip. David prayed in Psalm 141, verse 3, "Set a guard over my mouth, Lord. Keep watch over the door of my lips." I believe we need to include this in our daily prayer, that our words bring life, healing, and goodness to others. So how can we guard ourselves from being caught in this trap? Gossip often disguises itself as a concern, venting, or just sharing. Guard yourself by refusing to entertain those who feel the need to vent. Also ask yourself, am I honoring and glorifying Jesus in this conversation? Does this conversation serve a godly purpose? If it does not, walk away or change the subject. I want you to know you have the power to stop it. You have the power to change the atmosphere. Proverbs 26 verse 20 says, "Without wood, a fire goes out." Don't be the wood that fuels the fire. In fact, be the water that quenches the fire. Pray about the situation instead. Jesus warned, but I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word they have spoken. Matthew 12:36. Take a moment to reflect. Are your words bringing life or causing harm? Are you allowing the opinions of others to shape your heart more than the truth and love of God? Will you be at peace when you give an account for your words? I encourage you to make the choice today to ensure that your conversations always honor God. Be a voice of truth, love, integrity, and wisdom. Let truth and grace shine in your surroundings.